Welcome to NFL Nexus, the ultimate home for hardcore gridiron documentaries and deep dives. Look, before we get into the absolute madness of today's explainer, make sure you hit that subscribe button, drop a like, comment your thoughts down below, and seriously consider becoming a channel member. Your support is what lets us keep churning out these meticulously detailed breakdowns every single week. Okay, picture this. It's freezing outside the TCO Performance Center in Eagan, Minnesota. Typical, right? But inside those walls, the temperature is absolutely boiling. The entire facility is currently engulfed in this quiet, almost suffocating tension. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on a franchise that is teetering right on the absolute edge. We are diving deep into the Minnesota Vikings 2026 offseason, and let me tell you, it is nothing short of a high-stakes, cinematic thriller where literally every single decision carries massive, job-ending consequences.
Everything changed in a matter of seconds. That is the haunting reality echoing through the Vikings facility right now. Head coach Kevin O'Connell is staring straight down the barrel of his 5th season, and his margin for error, well, it's exactly zero. Think back to when O'Connell first arrived in Minnesota. Remember that? It was pure magic. He was the offensive mastermind, the young, brilliant savant meant to bring total stability and this explosive modern brand of football to the frozen north. And honestly, the honeymoon phase was intoxicating. But as we enter year 5, that shiny new veneer has completely worn off. The pressure has compounded into a crushing, inescapable weight on his shoulders. He is no longer the new guy with a long leash and a built-in excuse for growing pains. No, he is a head coach fighting for his professional life in a league that famously stands for not for long. It's survival mode, plain and simple.
You've got to look at this agonizing roller coaster because it has completely exhausted not just the fan base, but the ownership too. In 2022, O'Connell's rookie year, they make this thrilling playoff run. The vibes are immaculate. But then, bam, 2023 hits with just bitter disappointment. They managed to bounce back in 2024, scratching their way to a playoff return, only to completely and spectacularly fall apart in 2025. We really need to dig into the excruciating minutia of last season because it's the catalyst for everything happening right now. They started off with a catastrophic 4-8 record. 4-8! If you go back and watch the game tape from those weeks, it is just filled with agonizing microscopic errors. We're talking missed blitz pickups, ridiculous miscommunications, and absolute catastrophic turnovers in the red zone, largely because they completely lacked a viable backup quarterback when it mattered most. Now sure, the team desperately rattled off 5 straight wins at the end of the year to finish 9-8, but let's be real here, it was entirely hollow. That winning streak was a band-aid masking a deeply flawed foundation. With 2 fleeting playoff appearances completely offset by 2 bitter letdowns, this franchise is operating under a clear, ruthless directive: win now or pack your bags.
Section 1. The Brains, a front office purge.
This palpable desperation, it didn't just start on the practice field. No, it ignited at the absolute top of the food chain. Enter the new general manager, Nolan Teasley. Listen, when you are handed the keys to a sinking ship, you don't just politely patch the holes, you violently tear out the rotting wood. Teasley orchestrated an immediate, calculated, and frankly shocking purge of the front office to set his ideal direction. The sheer speed and scale of this overhaul, it sent absolute shockwaves through the entire building. In a single, ruthless afternoon, Teasley cleared the deck. He moved on from 4 front office and scouting staff members immediately. Done. Out the door. This included Assistant General Manager Demetrius Washington, who was a key architect of the previous regime. He departed to essentially make way for Teasley's uncompromising vision. It was a violent, unceremonious sweeping of the floor. The only really significant survivor from the old guard was Ryan Grigson. And make no mistake, Grigson's retention wasn't some happy accident. It was a calculated, strategic survival based almost entirely on the 2 years he spent working right alongside Teasley in Seattle. Just like that, the old regime was erased in a matter of hours.
So what does Teasley do next? In an absolute masterstroke, he builds a 2-headed war room that perfectly balances the bleeding edge of modern data with old-school dirt-under-the-fingernails grit. On one side of the table, you have Andrew Healy, the new number 2 football executive. Healy is a literal analytics prodigy. We aren't just talking about a guy who likes spreadsheets. We are talking about a man with a PhD in economics from MIT, undergraduate degrees in applied math and political science from Yale, and oh yeah, he's a former economics professor. He comes over from the Cleveland Browns, where he developed these hyper-granular, elite decision-making models. His draft asset valuation approaches literally break down player value into microscopic, fraction-of-a% margins. But sitting right across the table from him, that's Trent Kirchner. Kirchner is your quintessential football guy, a 27-year NFL veteran who spent 13 years grinding film in dark rooms alongside Teasley in Seattle.
A Minnesota native, Kirchner possesses this legendary Super Bowl pedigreed eye for talent. Think back to his days with the Seahawks. He was instrumental in evaluating the exact, specific traits that turned an undersized third-round quarterback named Russell Wilson into a franchise icon, and then subsequently turning trades into massive draft hauls. So you have Healy's impossibly complex algorithms sitting directly opposite Kirchner's visceral, film-grinding intuition. Brains and brawn, right there in the front office. It's a fascinating dynamic.
Section 2. The Brawn, the Quarterback War. But look, while the front office has stabilized into this new dynamic duo, a vicious, incredibly high-stakes collision course is currently tearing through the practice field under center. Because at the end of the day, all the advanced analytics and elite scouting in the world mean absolutely nothing if you don't have the man to pull the trigger. It is the ultimate positional war. In one corner, you've got J.J. McCarthy, drafted 10th overall in 2024, and man, his career has taken a grueling physical and mental toll. From that brutal meniscus tear in his very first preseason game to the agonizing, nagging injuries of 2025 that basically stunted his growth. He's battered, and yeah, he is inconsistent, but he is an entrenched system holdover. He has spent 2 full years with Kevin O'Connell's encyclopedic playbook seared into his brain. He knows the microscopic checks at the line of scrimmage. In the other corner, Kyler Murray, a 2-time Pro Bowler who is finally completely healthy. Murray brings this terrifying electric athleticism and a brilliantly strong arm. But he is starting from absolute ground zero in this playbook. After 7 years of speaking Arizona-specific offensive language, rewiring his brain to O'Connell's incredibly complex, pre-snap motion-heavy offense, that is a monumental mental hurdle.
Kyler Murray actually spoke to the media recently about this exact battle, and his words were incredibly revealing. He said, and I quote, "Having to split reps, me already being behind, not getting the amount of reps you would typically want, that's probably the toughest part." I really want you to hear the sheer weight in that statement. This is not some veteran whining about practice time, okay? This is the chilling, desperate focus of a warrior who knows that time is rapidly slipping away. Splitting reps in this specific system is incredibly detrimental. Kevin O'Connell's offense relies on this unspoken, almost telepathic language between the quarterback and his receivers. It is all about microscopic details, exact footwork drops, timing routes that literally require the ball to be out of the quarterback's hands before the receiver even turns his head. So every single split rep in training camp, that means Murray isn't getting the sheer volume of snaps required to confidently walk into Week 1 against the Green Bay Packers. The clock is ticking, and it is ticking loudly.
But here's the thing. When you strip away all the camp politics, when you look past the fact that McCarthy simply knows the playbook better right now, and you look at the raw lethality of these two players, the choice becomes incredibly stark. Kyler Murray has a staggering career completion percentage of 68.8%. He boasts a dominant 121-60 touchdown to interception ratio. Unpack that ratio for just a second. That is a massive demonstration of protecting the football while relentlessly hunting for the end zone. Opposing defensive coordinators literally have nightmares preparing for Murray. Look back at his 2021 peak. Nearly 3,800 yards through the air, 24 passing touchdowns, plus over 400 yards and 5 scores on the ground. That kind of dual-threat lethality completely breaks defensive schemes. It forces linebackers to freeze in the middle of the field. It forces edge rushers to lose contain. McCarthy, despite knowing the system, simply has not proven he can scale that mountain. Murray is a proven, dynamic force of nature, and that's the ceiling Minnesota's gambling on.
Section 3. The scale, the Jefferson factor.
And this brutal quarterback battle we just talked about, it directly dictates the fate of the most dangerous weapon on the entire roster, and perhaps the entire league, Justin Jefferson. Now on the surface, 84 receptions and 1,048 receiving yards looks like a pretty fantastic season for an ordinary receiver, right? But for Justin Jefferson, this was a suppressed, suffocated campaign. If you dig into the painful minutia of his 2025 tape, it is frustrating to watch. Time and time again, Jefferson would run a flawless, deep post route, completely breaking the defensive back's ankles, and McCarthy's erratic pacing would just ruin the play. The ball would sail high, or it would arrive a half-second too late, allowing the safety to recover and break it up. Crucial third-down out routes resulted in the ball being thrown behind him. Jefferson was repeatedly left stranded on an island out there, and the ultimate result of all that? 2 touchdowns on the entire season. 2. For a generational, paradigm-shifting talent like him, that is fundamentally unacceptable.
But imagine the alternative. If Kyler Murray can get those essential reps, if he can somehow seize command of the huddle and forge that elite connection with number 18, the ceiling for this offense disappears entirely. Let's slow down and look at what this actually means in deep football terms. A healthy, confident Kyler Murray, manipulating the pocket naturally, draws defenders toward the line of scrimmage out of sheer panic. They have to respect his legs. This is the true skeleton key for the Vikings. It forces defenses out of those frustrating too-high safety shells they've used to constantly blanket Jefferson. Suddenly, massive throwing lanes open up deep down the field. Experts projecting this roster say that an excellent quarterback-receiver relationship between Murray and Jefferson could absolutely shatter known limits. We're talking about threatening a historic, unprecedented 2,000-yard receiving campaign. 2,000 yards! We're talking about an easy return to double-digit touchdowns for Jefferson, while simultaneously elevating guys like Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson because the defense is stretched too thin. It is the offensive singularity if they can just get the timing right.
Section 4. A franchise-defining season.
So let's pull all of this massive context together. Every single agonizing move we've looked at in this explainer, from Nolan Teasley's immediate, violent front office purge to the fascinating blending of an MIT data prodigy and a Super Bowl pedigreed scout, right down to the bitter, split-rep quarterback war tearing through the practice field today. It is all a meticulous, desperate gamble by a franchise in total survival mode. The sheer weight of this impending season is crushing. Kevin O'Connell knows his career as a head coach is absolutely on the line. Nolan Teasley knows his grand front office experiment must yield immediate fruit, or he'll be on the hot seat next. Kyler Murray knows he desperately needs these microscopic reps to prove to the entire world that he is still an elite franchise quarterback and not a fading star. The ultimate war room is assembled. The generational weapons are waiting out on the turf. The talent is completely undeniable. But the haunting question remains, doesn't it? Will they figure it out before the clock runs out on this era of Minnesota football? Can Murray master the immense, agonizing nuances of this playbook in time for Week 1? Can this completely rebuilt front office blend analytics and old-school instincts seamlessly under immense pressure? I want to know what you guys think. Drop down into the comments below. Is Kyler Murray the savior this franchise needs, or will the lack of crucial reps doom the Vikings season before the first whistle even blows? Thank you for watching this NFL Nexus explainer. If you enjoyed the deep dive, please don't forget to drop a like on this explainer, hit subscribe, and join as a channel member for more premium, hardcore deep dives into the gridiron. We'll see you in the next one.